All right, and we are here. Hey, everybody. Hey, it's your girl, Leanne. Go say your Chief Self Love Officer over at Wake Up Happy Sis Show. And we have a special edition. I know we are on hiatus from the show for our between season break, but I just wanted to bring a couple of my friends to meet you guys. As some of you guys may know, I am currently editing. An anthology called Gumbo for the Black Woman's Soul. And I wanted you to be able to meet some of the amazing contributing authors to this anthology. So today we have Aviella Aloha and Stephanie Walker, who are going to share a little bit of their story with you. Not enough that you don't need to buy this book, so don't play, but enough to let you know that whatever trauma you are going through, you can get through it. And there is beauty, there is joy, and there is happiness on the other side of all that pain. So, without further ado, um, Aviela, why
All
don't
right.
you start by telling us a little bit about who you are?
Yes. Aloha from the sands of Maui, Hawaii. My name is Aviella. I am a purpose driven wealth aligner and creator. And I also happen to be someone who um, went from homeless to six figures just selling crafts on Maui. And this is after I aged out of the foster care system. So I'm so excited to be here and speak about gumbo for the Black woman's soul. Come on, y'all. Y'all know that that name just sounds so good, right? Who out there don't like gumbo, right? Whether you want the sausages, your shrimps, whether it's spicy or mild, gumbo incorporates a bunch of different ingredients, right? That make up the recipe for the greatness within the pot. And so my story is one of the contributing stories and one of the ingredients that makes up the recipe for the gumbo of the Black woman's soul. I'm so happy to be here.
Wow. So let me ask you this, right? Because I want you to dig a little bit into your story, only what you're comfortable of sharing. But talk a little bit about your journey through the system,
Mhm.
right? A little bit about that, and because what I really want to get to is how you managed to raise yourself from the age of what, 12,
Yes,
right? But talk a little bit about what got you to that point.
absolutely. So, um, when I was 11 years old, sitting in the seventh grade classroom, I actually used to have allergies, asthma, sinuses, this kind of stuff. And because of that, um, in the seventh grade one day after lunch, we come in and they raise the window because it's hot. I go to the public school, they don't have central air, that kind of thing. So they raise the window up so that we can get some air. Well, outside of that window, someone was cutting grass, and I happen to have what's called hay fever. That's the allergy to pollen in grass. So when they opened the window, I got sick instantly. For someone who suffers with hay fever, basically the symptoms are once it's activated, you start to get red eyes, runny nose. I had asthma also, so my throat would start to close a little bit, and basically I become instantly sickly. My teacher sent me to the nurse's office. When I got to the nurse's office, they went through the normal process when they have a child come in. They call the parent first, right? Well, I'm sorry, they assess the situation first. So I had a fever, I think it was about 106 or something. All this happened within about 12 minutes from the time they opened that window. Had a fever, and so they called nurse, called my mother at work, and asked her to come and pick me up, right? My mother at the time was a single mother and we didn't have a vehicle. She worked or she went to work by going on the bus, right? And two, sometimes three buses for her to get to work. So that equals about 1 hour to 2 hours travel time, right?
Mhm.
In between. So when they called her, it was after lunch, right? We get out of school at 1:55. They're calling her around 12 something, and telling her, you need to come and get your child. She's sick. She couldn't come. She couldn't leave. First of all, even if she left, she wouldn't get to
Wouldn't
me
get
at
there in
school
time.
until school's out, right? And so she, single mother, you gotta get the point. You can't just be leaving for stuff, especially when she knows
Mhm.
that I know how to handle the situation because she's trained me in the ways I should go, right? And what I should do. I told the nurse that I know exactly what to do. All I need to do is go home, get some Benadryl, and fall asleep. Wait for it to knock me out. When I wake up, everything will be better. The nurse wasn't having it, right? Apparently, because my mother couldn't come. And again, the main reason is if she were to go outside at that moment and catch the bus, and the bus came and everything lined up exactly, she would still not arrive to my seventh grade classroom until after school was out for the day. So I would have already been released, put on the bus, and back home. Good logic is just let her stay there for the remaining hour of school that's left, put her on the bus, go home, which is what's going to happen anyway. I'm thinking everything's fine. I have no idea. This is on Friday. This is on around August 14th or March 14th, 15th. Remember that? I come in on Monday. This was a Friday when this happened. When I get to school on Monday, I have this huge surprise. I get called into the principal's office, right? Now, when I get called into the principal's office, I'm worried. I'm thinking, what is happening? One, I'm a straight A student. I don't have any behavior issues yet. So I'm like,
Yet.
okay, yeah, what you want me to do? Like read the announcement or something in the morning? No. When I get to the principal's office, my mother is sitting in there. Now I'm nervous because she
Mhm.
mentioned the empty thing to me before I left for school, right? I get there, my mom's sitting in there, and right after I walk in and the door shuts from behind me, uh, the office door, it reopens and in comes this tall, Eurocentric truancy officer, Colade police officer with what we used to call him. I mean, I'm just gonna put it like we used to call them nigger beaters. It's the stick, right? This,
Mhm.
this is the language that was used.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, what is happening? Like, it ain't even 8 o'clock yet. Why is the police here? I know you're not from me. He walks in. Look, principal officer says you have an appointment that you need to go to, and this nice man is gonna
He
drive.
don't look nice. He
Okay.
don't look. I'm sure he don't look nice. Now,
Look,
if you
I'm
want to know
sure.
more of the story, nope. You want to know more of the story? You're gonna have
Okay,
to.
so I'll tell
You're
you more
gonna
of the
have to
story. Now
get the book. Nope, nope. They're gonna have
all
to
of us,
get the book. They gonna have to get the book if they want to
yeah,
know all about Aviella's story. The
yes,
point, what I want you to talk a little bit about now is what it was like. Because we're gonna fast forward. You are now on your own as a 12-year-old.
mm,
How did you make your way as a 12-year-old, trying to go to school, taking care of yourself fully,
mm,
and ending up in Maui, of all places?
sure. Well, you know what? There's no greater inspiration than necessity, right? So the first thing
That's
for
right.
me was I had to figure out where to stay and what that meant at first, and sometimes was outside on a bench, at a bus stop, one eye open, one eye closed. And then that elevated sometimes to people offering to help. And that seemed well until the lights turned off. And then these people who offer approach me with some type of sexual desire. And I end up having to go back outside, because that is one thing I was refusing to do. As someone who had been sexually assaulted before, I had told myself that I would
Mhm.
defend my body with my life each and every time, because I was not doing that again, no more, right? And so first it was just having these crazy places to stay and
Yeah.
outdoors basically. And then from there it's like, okay, what can I do to fill more time in the day so that when I am outdoors, maybe I'm less tired, more aware, so that I, don't have to worry about people walking up on me. So then it was at first youth programs, stuff like that, that I could sign up for, um, to waste time during the day. And I got lost in books. Sometimes I would go to the library. That was the best place. Now, once did that, I still went to school though. That was the thing. I
Mm.
still went to school each day, and I was thrusted into the foster care program, and that looked like group homes at this particular point after that appointment. And I know y'all got to go back and read this book, because when you hear where that appointment was, you're gonna be like, what?
Hmm.
I ended up in the group home sector of foster care after that first stop. So um, even though you're in a facility and there are adults attending, they're just getting paid, and they're not there for your well-being. They're not there to pour into you. They're not there to affirm your goals and dreams.
Right.
They're there to babysit. And if they woke up and they on their cycle and it's one of those days, you gonna feel it. If their man is treating them some type of way, or their woman, whatever it is at home, you gonna feel it.
Yes.
If there's something they can take away from you just because they can, they will, whether that be food, clothing, activity, whatever it is, to let you know that they believe that they're in control over your life, right? And so I began to develop skills of resilience, because lucky for me, I had a mother who at 7, 5 years before this, demanded that I learn the 23rd Psalms. That's a
Yeah.
passage in the Bible. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He make me to lie in green pastures, lead me beside the still waters, restore my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Now, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. These type of words are what I use to incubate my mind and my heart as I walk through the days. 12 turned into 13, 13 turned into 14, 15, because I'm still in school, right? And I began to excel even more in school academically, but I also began to cut up. They gave me
Yeah.
this word I learned. It's called incorrigible. Look that up. I ain't
Yes.
gonna, if
Mhm.
you don't know, look it up. It's a good word. Incorrigible is who I became over time.
Mhm.
And because I was someone who was told what to do, when to do it, when to eat, blah, 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 I said, oh no, this is not going to be my life. The minute I get the opportunity to make my own decisions,
Yes.
I'm going to choose to do what I do, what makes me happy. I'm not going to do what they're saying I'm supposed to do. Do you know that statistics then and even now is that 40% of people who age out of foster care end up homeless, in jail, or dead
Yep.
in 3 years or less?
Wow.
Honey, I said, not me, not me, because I was in the Scared Straight program. And so knock that out. That was my going to jail scared straight, right?
Yeah.
So I want to do that. And so how it like shaped, my desire to make my own path is they show me the wrong way so that I could find the right way for
That's
me.
right. That's right. And I love that. So before we move over to Stephanie, what is one message that you hope people get after reading your chapter in the anthology?
One message that I hope people get after reading. Um, There's power in your journey of self discovery.
Yes.
There's power in your journey of self discovery. What was meant to harm you will liberate you and elevate you. And not just for yourself, for others who will be
Mm.
coming before you, after you, so that you can care enough to share your story and help them find a way, be a light for them. So just no matter where you are in life, whether it's if you're still trapped in childhood trauma like I was for so long, bleeding into my adult life until I got to do this anthology, which was like a chain breaker, a key turner,
Yeah.
for me. And side note, I went through my paces emotionally when doing this. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. When you start
Baby.
digging up stuff, you go looking for stuff, you will find it.
Mhm.
The
Mm.
vulnerability, the feeling of not being, all the stuff comes back. But I want people to see that, first of all, how you start is not got to be how you finish.
Amen.
And you
Yes.
are in
So
control
true.
of your destiny. So what
Yes.
you gonna do with it?
We got one life. We got one life. And I'm going
Yeah.
to ride this thing till the wheels fall off.
Yes.
And that's what we have to do. And that's what this anthology is about. It is about getting knocked down 5 times, but getting up
Getting
that
back up.
six.
Yes.
Is always getting back up, is never giving up, never letting those that leave us with all this trauma win.
Mhm.
We are the victors. We are not survivors. We are victors.
That's right.
And that's the way I see it. So,
Mm.
so Stephanie, let's talk a little bit about you and your story and how you came uh, to the anthology.
Um, my story is it's about, oh my God. For one, before Miss Aviella, I want to tell you that my heart goes out to you. I
Oh,
cannot wait to be a sister reading yours as well. I love you.
thank you.
Um, I too, thank you.
Mhm.
Much myself, I live in Georgia, but I'm originally from Columbia, South Carolina. And I too myself, my first start that brought me here to Gumbo for your soul is childhood trauma.
Mm.
And much like yourself, I my trauma started at 4, it ended at 15 inside of the home. And it's kind of hard when you live in silence as a kid. You learn as a kid to put on that face, to put on that shadow, because you learn how to go out to school and cope knowing that you've just been abused.
Mm.
I grew up inside of a domestic violence home. I have not dealt
Mm.
with domestic violence, but I am a result of
Yeah.
trauma, abuse, sexual abuse due to sexual due to domestic violence in the home. So
Mm.
domestic violence inside of the home leads to covered sexual trauma in the home because most of the time the predator
Mm.
will say that they're going to harm the parent or other siblings in the home if you tell if
Yeah.
you told. I've even heard some that say that they will harm the animal in the home because you're close to that animal if you speak out. So
Mm.
my story, my trauma started at from 4 to 15. That word I've not heard anyone else mention that word before. Incorrigible. I too dealt with that. Leaving home, I ran away from home at 15 years old. Of course, I was thrust into the foster care system because of family that wanted to not be not be not agree with what I was saying that had happened to me, to be upset with meant to fall apart with the family. So they agreed with the family. Family was more important to them than protecting the child in the family. So of
Mm,
course I too was forced into forced to homes, from forced to homes to group homes, because I refused to stay inside of the homes. And unfortunately I got that one word is what they used in the courtroom that caused me to go to DJJ, which is Department of Justice, as a teen in South Carolina, because they said I was incorrigible because I would not
Mhm.
stay inside of the foster homes, which inside of the foster homes I witnessed, which is ladies who have come, who went to school with me that were in foster homes, who have kids right now today due to the
Yeah.
rape that was
mm,
being that was going on inside the foster homes, or children that was actually wet in the bed in the foster homes. I refused to stay in the foster homes. I had an auntie. I met some friends who became like two big sisters to me right now today. We're in our 50s, and those girls will still ride right now today. And they became, they became my big sisters and who I looked up to help me when I was out there in the streets, that I did not turn to drugs. I did not have to go out here and sell my body to be able to have a roof over my head, to be able
yeah.
to have a meal inside of my mouth. I found savior in those girls and my aunt and one of my best friend's mom. So going into Job Corps after school because I did not have money for college, so I went into Job Corps. A lot of people did not. A lot of people don't know that even in Job Corps, I came home in silence. Nobody knew. I just even recently told my
Mhm.
husband that even there, I was violated by one of the coaches. And of
Mm,
course, I came home and I couldn't tell home about it because I came home to the yelling, the screaming all over again. And you're this, you're that. You're not going to do this. You're not going to be this. You're not going to be that. You're not going to,
Mhm.
you're not going to accomplish this. You're not going to accomplish that. You're stupid. You're ignorant. I grew up with those words already being told to me. So that gave me power and strength that when I found Stephanie, because I went through my tomboy age stages of the baggy jeans and the big shirts and stuff, because one, I didn't want to be, noticed as the cute girl. I was already bow-legged and I walked bow-legged. So that was always a standout to, the guys and everything or whatever. So I felt, nobody knew, but I felt as though me wearing the baggy pants and everything or whatever, that took away from
Yeah, there's a protection.
the look,
They're not going
right?
to want me now.
I did the
Well,
same.
not want, but not just not the attention of, it
Mhm.
just draws so much attention, so. But time went on, and I became a helper to so many people, and I moved to Georgia in 2003, which is my second time moving back here. And I became a mother. And my son, by me being a mother, I was, helping out his family. And I became a victim to injustice here in Georgia. I did not walk with my head down because I knew I did not do anything wrong. But unfortunately, never been to prison before. I listened to a public defender, and I accepted a plea deal. A plea deal that I was told that I would come home to my son and that everything would be okay. I would just have probation, even though I had wanted to go to trial. I had begged to go to trial, and it just didn't go that way. Listen to a public defender. That led me into incarceration because I accepted a plea deal. Not
Mm,
because I did anything wrong, but because I accepted a plea deal that led me to a judge giving me 2 years to the Georgia Department of Corrections. That led me to being victimized, not by the ladies who got up with me every day, some that prayed with me, some that looked up to me because of the way I carried myself. I did not go in trying to be a part of the system. My motto, every day that I woke up in there, was that I came in with a social security number. I will be addressed in my mind as a social security number. I will not walk around attaching myself to a GDC number. And
That's right.
I started preaching that to some of the ladies that was in the facility, and that's the way I carried myself, to the point to where it's that there were rumors that the captain was doing what he was doing to the ladies that was in there. And I only had 2 years, so I did not qualify for a detail. And unfortunately, with my career, I did not need a detail, but he had his motives, and I became a victim there in Department of Corrections. I went in silence. I came home in silence from 2013. I only did 18 months. I came home in silence and went did what I did as a kid. I was hurting. I was broken on the inside, but I walked out like this. I smiled everywhere I went. No one knew. I got calls, I got text messages. No one knew what I was going through because one, I had to be a mom. I had a
Yeah.
son that depended on me. I had a son that um knew his mom to be a victor, to be strong and this independent mom, and I couldn't be broken in front of
Yes.
him. When he would go to school, I would just lay in my bed and cry. Um Eventually 2015, I saw him incarcerated. 18, I broke my silence when I saw him incarcerated. Um, After being sentenced, I began to break my silence. I'm now a speaker. I have
Yes.
received many awards. What actually caused me, what didn't protect me in the facility, I am now on the board of directors of PREA, which is Prison Rape Elimination Act. I am now on the board of directors with Just Detention International and on the Survivor Council. I have shared my story of survival and what has happened to me to help others in the facility, in the communities to survive, and don't be afraid to go out and get help. Don't be afraid of that stigma that goes out. Why did you wait to tell? Until you walk a mile in my shoes, until you walk a
There's
mile into
nothing they
that
can
victim's
say.
shoes, that's a question that you will never be able to understand, and that's an answer that you will never be able to fully receive. Is what and why it took them so long to tell. Because just as long as it took them to tell, guess what? It's going to take even longer for them to heal after they tell, because it's a whole nother breaking
That's
of
right.
healing after you break your silence. So
Well,
me
and the
being
justice typically doesn't come, right? I mean, one, as women who are victimized, you're then victimized by the people who are supposed to protect you. Well,
Mhm.
why did you do this? Why did you wear that? Why were you even there? Why were you, as if, and this is a problem that we have in this country, where the emphasis is placed on women to adjust who they are instead of focusing on men being able to control their emotions, their actions. We don't tell men that. It's expected that they are barbaric and whatever. But as women, we're supposed to, change everything about us so as to not attract those types. The system is messed up. So then
Yeah.
you wonder why women don't tell. They're scared. They've been threatened. Their lives, the lives of those around them have been threatened. So there's all manner of reasons. When a woman does come forward, that is the most courageous act she may ever take in her life, because she has to get past her fears, the things that have been placed on her, everything that society is trumping on her, because she was a victim
yeah,
or a survivor, because she made it through. We're not going to say victim, we're going to say survivor,
survivor.
right?
Yes,
And
yes.
so tell me, coming through that, now being an advocate for that, how do we prepare or better prepare our children so that they know when to talk, when to tell, how to, so they know, regardless, I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care if they say they're going to kill me, kill whatever, you tell me, right? How do parents protect their kids as much as possible in training them in how to act?
One I would say is as a mother, and I would say starting when that child begins to talk. When they begin to talk and understand their body parts,
Hmm.
understanding what teaching your child early on what boundaries are. Be careful telling a child constantly when a kid comes to you, be careful telling a child to shut up, get out of my face. when they're coming to talk to you. Telling the child that that they are not worthy of a conversation, because what are you doing is you're building that child up to have fear in them when they want to
Mhm.
come and talk to you and tell you something. Teach your child what to do. Like I taught my son, if anybody, well, one, going to school, dress your children in things to pre-dress your child at home. If that child cannot button those pants, I don't care how cute those pants are, boy or girl, those pants ought to be worn at home. If they cannot fasten that buckle, those that cute little belt is to be worn at home. If they cannot do that zipper, those pants or dress is to be worn at home, because you want them to be able to go to the restroom on their own without any help. If
Yep.
those that does need help, because we do have some special needs kids and everything, you still yet give something, put them something on them to teach them something, because we can start. The brain is a process, no matter, because I deal with mental health and ADHD kids as well, certified specialists with kids like that. And I tell parents, even if your child is special needs, you find out what your child's communication is, and you can teach
Right.
your child early on how to communicate if someone touches them or say
Definitely.
anything to them and they are fear. Because even if when that person walks into the room, pay attention to their eyes, pay attention to the way that they speak, pay attention to their body language. Don't be, if your child has been this good kid and all of a sudden they start spazzing out for no particular reason,
Mhm.
I don't care, from if they, even if they are a teenager, pay attention to the change in your children, because
Mm,
those are signs that they are, there are more signs that, more signs than saying that that child is bad or that child is a problem child. Find out what the problem is in that child that's causing that child. But the most important thing is having that open communication with that child, that they can come to
Yes.
you, and when you talk to them, that they can talk to you and tell you or be able to express to you in body language what's
Mhm.
going on with them.
mhm.
Definitely. Definitely. So, what is one key message that you hope people get from reading your chapter?
One is the victory, the the victory in it, knowing, reading what, breaking the silence, understanding how important it is to break the silence. It doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter when it happened. Your story is for your healing. It is not for your
That's right.
family. It is not for your friend. It is not for your workplace. It is not for your church community. It doesn't matter who is upset that you are breaking your silence. Your silence is so that you can heal. Your silence is so that you can move forward in the workplace, in your spiritual walk in faith, whatever your faith is, that you can walk in the community. A lot of people judge people why they're on drugs and what their sexuality is, wasn't, but they never sit down and talk to someone and
Mhm.
know what their story is. So if I can get a message out to anyone reading my story, Breaking the Silence, it's understanding that you have been traumatized,
Mhm.
you have been a victim, but you can too become a survivor. And your survivor, you surviving will be a story to help someone else survive.
Yes, yes, I love that. And this is a question for both of you guys. Who has been kind of the most influential person in your life, and how have they helped shape your resilience and strength?
Hmm,
See, I got deep questions for y'all.
that's a good question. The most important person in your life.
Or most
This
influential.
is I don't know how this is gonna sound, but it's true. I have been the most important person in my life,
Hmm.
right? Because I've been the person who knows exactly what I need, what I want, how I need to grow, where I need to go in and out of time.
Hmm.
Having the courage to have faith in my abilities wasn't always easy, but it's always been my support system
Mhm.
Going back to yeah, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I have a Christian worldview. I'm not preaching at anybody, but these are tools. Greater is he that's in me than he who's in the world. So knowing that, if I understand that the Lord that I serve is in me, and so we become one, then when I'm saying it's me, I'm saying it's him also. I'm saying
Mhm.
the creator for sure. Because there's a silent voice, you know, inside me that whispers which way to go. Now, sometimes might not want to be tuned into that if I want to be doing my own thing. I might want to,
Mhm.
but it's always been there. And because I am the holder, I am the shell, I am the space in which that voice resides, I have to honestly say it's always been me. Even back then, I knew something in me gave me resolve on how to get through the situation while I was in the situation. Like there was always a forward thinking mechanism within me saying, okay, some people stay in the moment. I wasn't in
Mhm.
the moment. I was like, okay, this is what's happening now. I'm going to learn this because later I'm going to use it to do this. Or this problem that I'm having is going to become a solution later. This is how
Mhm.
I've had an entrepreneurial type mindset since I was young. Um, so I have to be humbly grateful that it's
Yeah.
always me.
Okay. What about you, Stephanie?
I would say my son, me, Tyler, me becoming a mom. Because um, before that, he gave me a reason. He gave me a reason to look beyond
Mhm.
not having family.
Mhm.
He gave me a reason to not yearn for the absence that I used to feel with
Yeah.
family, because I had that love that was in me, that love that was once given to me before the trauma. Thank God I had that. I had that love that I could now project onto a
Yeah.
child and be the mother. I could be the mother. I became the mother that I always wanted. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I love my mom. My mom is very powerful, she's very strong, but we don't choose. Sometimes we can't choose the traumas that happens in our lives.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just became that protective mom, and I knew that he needed me. The anger, the rage, the zero tolerance that I used to have, and I just spazzed out. And I realized that my spazzing out, once going to counseling and getting help, it wasn't just me spazzing out on what you have done to me. I'm spazzing out with everything that is behind me, because I've just
Yeah.
always been carrying, like that lady with that bag. I've been carrying everything and everybody who has
Ag
hurt me.
lady.
And
Yeah.
the worst part, yes, I was like that bag lady. And it's like when
Mhm.
you, and it was like when I got approached with something, I felt as though my back was against the wall, and everything that was in that bag came forward. So it was like, and most of it was my childhood. I carried childhood
Yeah.
trauma with me for so long. And it was like I needed release. And when I got that release going through my spiritual walk that I did, which I'm so thankful that I did, I became a mom. Becoming a mom, it just made me look at life a little bit more. And it was like, okay, you need therapy, you need counseling,
Mhm.
because you need to stay healthy. I was having heart problems, blacking out and everything or whatever. I needed to live for him. And when I was in that dark area in that facility, me knowing that I had to come out and be a mom to him is what helped me
Yes.
push through in that facility. No matter what I was going through, I knew that when the devil was on the side, it's like, okay, do this, take your life, take your life, take your life. I cry. I would go to a CO, and they would think that I'm crying because they got to know me and my son, because I always talked about him. Like I said, I was there in a khaki uniform, but I lived in my mind a
That's
normal life. I spoke
Right.
in presence as if I was still my son's mom and carrying him and taking care of him. So they didn't know that the tears was because I had just gotten violated. So
Right.
I would go out there, and I needed to get out of that dorm. And because of how I carried myself, they trusted me to just walk out into that breezeway free, on my own, unwatched and everything. And I would just cry it out, and I would just pray and pray and pray. And the only thing I could do is just see Tyler. Like, I needed to go home. I got to go home. I can't do this. I can't do this. I got to go home
Mm.
with Tyler. So I would say that my son, even through my journey of court and just getting to here, he has been my me being a mom, me being a mother. Out of all titles I have, me
Mhm.
being a mother has been my biggest motivation. Being a mother.
Definitely. Definitely. I think there's a difference, a shift that happens in your life usually when you have children. Now, it doesn't happen for everybody because we know everybody was not fit to be a parent, but
Mhm.
it does happen for a lot of us that can change, be the one thing that totally changes your life, right? When you know that you have somebody to live for, you have somebody that needs you to protect them, to guide them, right?
Mhm.
So I love that. So let me ask you this as we come bring this to a close. What's one thing that you would say to your younger self
Mhm.
about how to navigate the challenges that they're going through?
I'm gonna have to think on that for a minute. Stephanie, feel free to go first.
I've actually written a letter to my younger self. That was part of my
Love
therapy.
that.
Wrote a letter to my younger self. And to my younger self, I would tell myself that it was okay to cry.
Yes.
It was okay to release when I was hurting. And
Yes.
I'm trying to get this straight from cut up around his leg. That one, it was okay to cry, because not crying caused me to put on to be very hard. And it, it's okay to cry.
Yeah. I think
That's the
for
biggest
me,
thing. It's okay to cry.
we
Crying
have to
is healing
cry
for the
as a
soul.
release. Yes.
And I
Yeah.
didn't. I just put on this superwoman face, and I grew into her. I literally grew into this. Nothing hurts me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think for me, it's, if I were to say something, my younger self, you don't have to take on everybody else's problems, everybody else's burdens, everybody else's trauma, everybody else's pain
Yes,
as
yeah.
my own, as if I am responsible for everybody. And because that is so much a weight that we carry, that superwoman syndrome, the cape, we want to take it off, but we real scared what's going to happen when I take it off,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
What's going to happen to all these people that I have to take care of? You don't. But we put so much on our shoulders, or so much is put on our shoulders sometimes, that it's not fair to us, and it causes us to, like you said, bring that trauma with us into our adulthood. It becomes part of our personality. Oh,
Yes.
she's so strong. Oh, she's so hardcore. Oh, she's
Hmm.
so this, she's so that. It's a trauma response.
Right.
Yeah.
These are responses to the trauma that we've been left with, and this was the only way we could cope.
Hmm.
So, what about you, Aviella?
Yeah, and thank you for giving the opportunity to think about this. It's very important. For me, I would tell my younger self two or three things. Most importantly, read. I have found so much information about how to get where I want to go or solve a problem I need a solution to in books. I remember when I was younger, they would say, know how to keep something from a black person, put it in a book. I remember hearing that for young. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like reading, because I had taken on ownership of this label they gave me, ADHD or whatever. I went from being asthmatic to ADHD and
Right.
incorrigible. So I would say to read. because there's some great reads out there with some great information, such as Gumbo for the Black Woman's Soul, that
Oh,
has some
yeah.
keys in there for people to unlock some things. So I would tell her to read. I would tell her to not feel failure, not
Yeah.
fear failure. I think the way my personality has been shaped, wanting to having a fear of failure has a big thing to do with it, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
because I know what the opposite side of it means when someone fails to do something they're purposed to do, or fail to do what you want to, that has consequences. And sometimes the consequences are for people other than you, right? When that
Yes.
failure takes place, like if the school system fails to serve the students in the best way, the students suffer. If a
Mm-hmm.
parent fails to train a child in the way they should go, the child suffers,
Right.
right? So don't
Right.
fear failure. I feel like before this anthology, I was still under that cloud, under that bondage. It's like chains. But you know
Mhm.
what? Failure is just a dress rehearsal for success. Now
Yes.
I would say fail as many times as you can, because the more times you fail, the more lessons you learn, the stronger you become, the more you're able to adapt to things as they change, because you have this whole reserve of what not to do. It
Right.
makes what you should do illuminate so much brighter when you know where you're not going to go,
Right.
right? And if there were a third thing I would tell her is you could be a mom. It's okay. Because for me, I had such a fear of becoming a parent because of my experience as a child
Yeah.
of two parents
Yes.
and abandonment and what that
Mm-hmm.
really meant for someone like me. I was a good child. Like I wouldn't.
Mhm.
So it's okay because
Mm-hmm.
maybe I wasn't born for that. But wouldn't it be a shame if I actually was and I let fear prevent me
Yeah.
from walking that path, which prevented some beautiful little fraternal twins, boy and girl, from
Yeah.
coming into this world and experiencing it under my, guidance, helping
Mm-hmm.
them develop. So those would be the three, because I think that's very important. So definitely don't fear failure. Read to show yourself approved. And
Yes.
it's okay to be a mother. You can do it. You are good enough. You're not going to wreck them. You're not going to do the same things to them that happened to you. Like, these are real concerns to me. I was like, it's 50-50 chance. Really? I mean, I'll say it today. I could just, let the system get it. Happen to me. I turned out great. If I get mad enough, that's being real honest, real trans. I might be
Yeah.
capable of that.
Mhm.
And then again, I might absolutely not and say, I'm
Exactly.
not letting that happen. But I don't know because I'm not in the situation. So,
Yeah. So, ladies, it has been great talking to you. If you want to know more about Aviella and Stephanie, make sure you head on over to wakeuphappysis.com. We're going to have pages for all the ladies so you can connect with them, purchase the anthology from your favorite author or from your favorite editor here, right? Because these stories, our book needs to be big, it needs to be huge. This is a life support system for our sisters in our community because we take care of our own here. And
Yes.
that's what this book is about, right? So it's our
Yeah.
stories of our trials and our tribulations, but our triumphs are even better in this story, right? It's about letting you know that you are not alone, that there are people who have been through what you've been through. And yes, it feels like there is no light at the end of the tunnel, but baby, we are the light.
That's
We are
right.
the light for you. We are here for you. We are extending our hand to help you out of that darkness. And you just have to take it. You just got to take that first step and get that book, baby. Let me show
Yeah.
y'all the cover anyway, because we didn't do that.
let
Let's
me
show
see
y'all
the
the
cover.
cover. Y'all
Yes.
see that, y'all? see
She
that
do.
sexiness? Y'all
What?
can see that
Beautiful.
She
sexiness.
do.
Yes.
Y'all need to get this. So
Yes.
each one of the authors will be selling copies of the anthology. So you are not required, because I don't like to tell people what they gotta do, but it should be on your heart to buy this book for yourself, for the women in your life, for the young women in your life. There is no age limit on
No,
healing,
it isn't.
right? If you're an organization that works with women, with young girls, we would love for you to purchase this book for them. We would love to have institutions purchase these for women that are locked up,
Hmm.
right? We
Yes.
want agencies,
Yes.
schools purchasing this book for their students and their faculty. There's so
Book
much healing
clubs.
that, yes, that can happen. We want governments buying these, baby. Come and buy them up, right?
Yes.
That's
Because
right.
we have healing on our mind and in our hearts. And that's what we're here to do. So you can always head on over to wakeuphappysis.com. There'll be a big, gigantic banner up there probably today. It might be up there today. Might be up there today. That will let you know how you can connect with our fabulous authors, because it's just two of them. You guys haven't met the other eight yet. So I want to make sure that you guys are staying locked, staying loaded, and come and get this anthology. You're going to get something out of these stories. Plus, we have the fabulous Dr. Evelyn Bethune, Mary McLeod Bethune's granddaughter, who is doing our forward. Like, if you don't know who that powerful woman is, where have you been?
Yes.
You need to
Yes.
go
Look
look
her
her up,
up.
because sis is
Great.
powerful.
Yes.
And she balled like me. You know that ball girl power
You-
never stops. So
Yes.
just make sure that you connect with us, right? Again, go to wakeuphappysis.com. You'll be able to connect with all of our authors and get to their websites, purchase the book from them, purchase other things that they have for sale, support the causes that they are interested in. Our point is to connect. We want to
Yes.
connect with you. So, with
Connect with
that, I
Kia.
want to thank y'all
Thank
Yes.
for
And
you.
joining
if
us.
you're on the lookout for speaking engagements, maybe we might all come together, do a tour.
Yes.
Yes,
Possibly. I'm gonna throw
definitely.
that out there.
Put it out
Yes.
into the we put it
Everybody
out into the
bring the
universe.
anthology to your town, to your school. Let us
Yes.
come in and speak to your students directly so we can have some one-on-one with them.
Boys and girls
Repeat,
clubs.
contact
Yeah.
Wake Up Happy Sis and she will schedule it for you.
We got you. We got
Right.
you. Thank y'all. And y'all have a wonderfully fabulous day.
Bye, ladies.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Hello. Thank you.
Aloha.
Get
Making
your
a great day.
pre-orders.